Your due's fine.
All right, so we're back in action with another, what is this, marketing mastermind at the Oregon Real Estate Investors Association, which is, I want to talk about, a lot of times we don't talk about competition or competitors, right? We talk about what we should be doing, right? But I want to talk about competitive analysis and how important that is to your marketing. And there's will be several aspects I'll put into this, but there's two different mentalities that a lot of people run through. One is I am not going to listen or care to what other people are doing in my market. I'm just going to do what I want to do, and I'm going to get the advice and consultant or advice, direction, mentorship, and I'm not going to worry about what others are doing. And that is okay until you get to the point of which you want to be doing some of the same avenues from a marketing perspective that other people in your market are currently doing. And what I mean by that is if you want to operationally do whatever you want, that's fine. If you want to write offers a specific way for properties, that's fine. If you want to have your own brand, logo, colors, motto, mission statement, and not care what anybody else is, that's fine. But not understanding the market and who you're competing against is like an extremely naive way of looking at marketing. And I think this is a topic that a lot of people don't touch on, listen to a lot of podcasts, a lot of people don't bring it up. So the first step in understanding competitive analysis is understanding where are other people in your market finding your competitors. And so I'll give you kind of some perspective and we'll run through some different marketing avenues. But every time you see a Bandit sign, I want you to look at what it says and I want you to write down the phone number. Then I want you to go back to your office and Google that phone number to see if it's a smart number or connected to somebody's website or business. Because if you can see where they're putting out Bandit signs and they're consistently putting out Bandit signs, that might be a hot corner for you. You might want to position or pivot, and I'm not going to encourage anybody to do theft, but move strategically their sign behind yours, right? So that's the first thing I want you guys to do.
It's called repositioning. Yeah.
Exactly. The first thing from the most basic standpoint of boots on the ground, figure out who is doing some sort of visual or display advertising. If I want to be politically correct from Mike and I's background in advertising. Next, look at who's doing billboards. What is their copy? What is their call to action? Where's the website or landing page? Are they using QR codes? And so figure out that. The next thing I want you to do is I want you to then look at what type of direct mail have you picked up at potential leads' houses. This has happened to me numerous times. I go to an appointment. They're like, yeah, I've been getting all these postcards. And they'll have like a stack of them or letters or any of your family, friends, people who have received these, right? I want you to take them. Oh, can I keep that? Yeah, no problem. I don't want it. And build like I have a little box here that has all of the stuff that I intercept. And then I have a box of everything that's ever been returned. So then I can kind of cross scrub and count how much money I've lost in just bad mailers, bad addresses. But now you have print advertising to look at and kind of display on what they're displaying in the market and what they're mailing and what their call to actions are. And so you can get a little bit better fit from that perspective. Then I want you to go into more of a digital aspect. Okay. I want you to start with keyword terms that you would write down in Google if you were desperate and needed to sell your house. Sell my house quickly, Eugene, Oregon, real estate investor, Eugene, Oregon, homes quick, sell house for cash, whatever it is. I want you to spend 5, 10, 15, 20 minutes thinking of every possible thing you can think of. And everyone's going to hate me for saying this, but click all the ads. See where those ads take, as Grace points her finger at me. See where those ads take you. What type of landing page, how fast the websites load. What are they offering that's different? Is it video face forward, meaning you're immediately getting a video of them? Or is it all inline text with, carrot submission forms that everybody's seen on 15 other sites, right? So the first thing is looking at that Google pay per click keyword sequencing and seeing who's spending money in your market and where are they spending that money. Then I want you to look at the Google organic search results, which are all the results that are underneath those sponsored click or pay-per-click keyword terms. Those are going to be blog posts, company bio pages, and go back 3 or 4 pages. Like go as back far as a consumer would. They're going to get really bored after the 3rd page, and they're not going to go any deeper. So you want to do that for several different cities, Springfield, Eugene, Coburg, Dexter, whatever. And you'll start to understand who is paying for Google PPC in your market, who organically is ranking. And from that perspective, who's also shooting video that is showing up in Google results, okay? Then I want you to read reviews. I want you to kind of do some reconnaissance. And I'm not trying to sit here and say that you need to know exactly what your competitors are doing, because if anybody Google searched me from an investment standpoint, you're not going to find jack shit really. I've pretty much stopped all Google PPC. I don't go after flipping properties or wholesale contracts. So really it's not based upon that strategy. But what I'm trying to say is that whatever lane you're trying to operate in, you want to know what they're doing online. And I say this, and I'm not going to mention any company names, but there's several companies that are pretty successful that have good presence online. There's several companies that kind of ebb and flow out. You'll see them in the rankings, and then they run out of money. They disappear, right? You're going to see that over and over. And then we'll also see a resurgence of bigger money from bigger cities and out of state starting to rank in PPC. So you can kind of get a good flow of where people think these markets are going and how they're going. And then every single cash buyer list that you can get on for wholesalers, do it, right? They may be direct competition, but like I laughed today because me and Marty commented on the exact same post. Somebody had said like, hey, who wants to be on my buyer list from Eugene and Springfield? Guys, I am not buying flips, but I want to see what people are finding. So I get on every single list. It's like me, Jesse Lopez, Marty. It's like 5 people of like good friends, all putting.
We all commented.
we all commented, and Marty knows. Like I'm not buying any of these, but I want to see them, right? Yep. I want to see the prices. I want to see what they're wholesaling them at. I want to see what they're passing by. And the golden rule with wholesaling is 9 times out of 10, unless they're your friends and they're wholesaling it to you and you have a good relationship with them, they're wholesaling you garbage at an inflated price. So once you start to see that digital aspect, you've seen the direct mail, you've seen the bandit signs, you've seen the print advertising. That's another thing, right? Newspapers or anything that penny saver, if you're anywhere of these creative places that you're seeing people, park benches. What I'm not trying to tell you to do is do all this competitive analysis and then turn around and just do exactly what they're doing, right? That's how you carve out what your marketing mix is going to be for your 2022 marketing plan. You're going to look at all of that research you've done and then say to yourself, where do I see the highest conversion ROI? Where do I see my money having the highest visibility? Where do I see myself reinvesting my profit in order to get good returns? And I can tell you this, guys, there was 3 or 4 investors that were running consistent Facebook ads for like 6 to 8 months, maybe even a year. just same Facebook ads over and over and over and over. And I kept on just pushing hide because I was just like sick of seeing them. And now they've disappeared. Not off my feed. I'm just saying that that ad spend didn't go anywhere. And so by doing all this competitive analysis, it allows you to have more laser targeted focus on what I call your bread and butter marketing channels, where you think you're going to get the best response and you're going to put the most money in so that when you do get a return on investment, you can double down. And I say all this because you need to do this thought process once a year. If you do it too much, you're going to overkill yourself. You're going to get jealous. You're going to have FOMO when you start seeing people spending tons of money in different places. You need to just do it once a year, have a good understanding of what the pulse of the market is. Because what I wanted to say is that I have a good friend, close friend of mine that's a general contractor, and he's going to start a roofing business. And there's probably 10 to a dozen powerhouse roofing companies in this area. We probably all know their names. I'm not going to mention any of them. Then there's probably a good 24 to 36 general contractors that do roofing and general construction that kind of sprinkle into the mix. But the first thing I told him to do is I was like, you need to go out and you need to get bids from these other companies. You need to understand what they're charging price per square foot. You need to understand where they're having their customers leave reviews. You need to understand where they're getting leads and marketing. Do they have a badass website? Or when you Google search roofer Eugene, Oregon, are they going to their landing pages? And you need to kind of just figure out where the baseline is, right? And in real estate investing, this become a very lonely sport that if you don't even do this step of understanding what your competition's doing, you can get very sidetracked and dig yourself into a hole. And what I mean by that is you can start sending out mailers, get a couple good deals going, make some money, and you're just like, oh, it's mailers all day. Like, I'm going to keep doing those mailers. While somebody else in your market is driving for dollars, right? Is advertising on digitally, Facebook advertising, doing a bunch of Instagram and different stuff. But it's always the mix. It's the mix. It's the advertising approach. It's how an agency looks at, how am I going to generate more business for this company? You are your own marketing manager for your own investment company. You need to look at it like, if I hired a marketing and advertising agency, what is the first thing they're going to do? First thing they're going to do is interview you. They're going to figure out where your pain points are, where your revenue streams are, what you've had success with, what you've failed at. Basically, build a big Venn diagram of what you're good at, what you're not good at, where is that target market at? And then they're going to go out and do a competitive analysis of everybody in your market to figure out what they're doing. And then they're going to come back and say, hey, we got it. We have a marketing plan now. We're going to do this marketing mix. This is going to be your marketing communications plan. This is the budget that you're going to roll out for the year. Because I went out to a house flipper's property, 9 minutes from my house, right down the road. He was representing a buyer on one of my listings. I needed to hand him the keys. They're closing tomorrow. He's like, hey, I'll show you my flip. Beautiful property, amazing flip. And I was like, guys, this is really good. You're going to make some good profit on this. I was like, what's next after this? We're like, I don't know. We have no other properties. And that is the problem, right? They just generated $40,000 to $50,000. After they go talk to their accountant, they're going to have $32,000. There's two partners. They both made 16 grand. And of that 16 grand, they probably have like $5,000 or $6,000 in credit card bills and living expenses and cost. I'm just guessing. This is all hypothetical. Now they both have $10,000. They don't want to spend it all. So maybe they spend $2,000, $3,000, $4,000 on marketing, but the pipeline's not filled right behind them. And I think whether you're buying and holding and you know what your acquisition strategy is going to be for next year, you're right, I want to pick up 2 properties, 3 properties. This is how I'm going to do it. Whether you're syndicating apartment complexes and you want to do a capital raise and you want to get 100 units next year, the inventory is generated by the marketing. Without no marketing, there is no inventory. Without no inventory, there's no pipeline. Without no pipeline, there's no revenue. Without no revenue, you're just going from deal to deal to deal. And everybody goes through slumps. That's not an unpredictable way of doing it. It happens to everybody. I purposely slowed down my real estate business right now because I was getting too busy. And I say that because I actually have buyers that I just kind of told them like, hey, I'll refer you out. I'm really not interested in working with buyers right now, just so that I could slow down and start planning. I knew if I went through the whole entire Q4 super busy, I was not going to be able to plan. I was going to be way too busy. I was going to be putting way different. I have 2 investment property stuff going on. And what happens is that you actually shoot yourself in the foot for 2 quarters away. And so that's what I wanted to stress today, is doing that competitive analysis, that marketing planning for next year. I know we've touched upon this before, but you need to think of it from the long term. This is sweet. You need to look at this from the long-term approach, is that if I stop now, I have clarity of where I'm going, you're going to have a more successful Q2, Q3, Q4 of next year. If you don't stop what you're doing and get clarity on that, that was the coolest view I've ever seen. That was like a painting on a wall. You're going to have a slow Q3, Q4 and not know why. And I think the struggle in this is the clutter effect in our brains, right? No matter how organized you are, when things slow down, you start to, it's like feast or famine, or fight or flight. You're like, oh, I need another deal. I need another deal. And then you start making stupid decisions. You start blowing money on marketing that you don't know that works. And I bring this up, guys, because I'm going to admit something. This year, I spent $8,000 on marketing that did not work. Three different marketing approaches: automated direct mail that was tied to PPC, that was tied to email drip campaigns, Google PPC for buyers in the first couple months that I was doing, and a bunch of random Facebook ads, not promoting properties, but testing about $3,000 in Facebook ads with investments and retail listings buyers. So $8,000. And I was just looking at my gross commissions, and I was looking at how much I would have made. And I said 20% of all of the gross revenue that I came in, I spent on advertising and marketing that didn't work. And so I said, all right, I need to come back to the drawing table. What am I going to remove? When are those contracts over? And go through the marketing budget to be like, all right, I'm going to trim the fat, the stuff that doesn't work. And then I'm going to double down on the things that I do work. And it's more communication, more one-on-one conversations with people, and starting to essentially do more of the manual work in order to build a better plan. And I thought I would have known that working in marketing and advertising for real estate agents, that I shouldn't try things that I know are not vested or trusted and proven with a return on investment. But when you first got started, it was like, hey, like, I'm just going to throw this wet paper towel against the wall and hope it sticks. So here's where the meat and the potatoes of this whole entire conversation are. If you don't have a single deal right now, you have to change something. You have to change either where you're finding deals, whether it's the city, different towns, locations. You need to increase your visibility and your availability of people finding you, which can be either done through direct mail at a low cost per unit, or high visibility areas like Bandit Science that don't say the exact same thing that everybody else says, or creative advertising in mediums like YouTube, Instagram, Facebook, and or connecting with the right people who are vendor relationships to build you more deals, like probate attorneys, estate planners, tax consultants, mortgage brokers that deal with people that are, looking to refinance and failing, whatever it is, city officials to get tax records, whatever it is. I just wanted to say that you have to look at it from, I need to build more relationships, I need to create a marketing plan, and I need to create more visibility of my message in order to capture. And where this gets turned into all of the mashed potatoes is that if you don't do it, you'll just do a deal here and there. Your maximized potential as a human being, as an investor, will be, I'm only going to do 2 or 3, 4 deals. I'm comfortable with that. I'm not pressed for income or to pay bills off or a credit card statement that's lingering on me. And that's where my ceiling is. Then there's the completely different mindset on the other end of the spectrum, which is, how do I do 12 deals this year? And I think it's either all in or all out with me and my personality. Some people, it's not like that. So you got to match up who you are as a person, what you're looking to get out of investing, whether it's passive or more of an aggressive approach. And then overall, not be that flipper that I met today who's like, I don't know what we're doing next. Because every time somebody says that to me, I say that there's another 90 days to 120 days before they even have a chance at writing on another property. And that is the direct definition of, if they do that full time, they are going to be out of business. Some of us who are more in the retirement years, or have a little bit more financial stability, or have a little bit bigger or better risk threshold, right? Then our plans can be 3 or 4 units this year. But overall, we should operate to find those 3 or 4 units like we need to find a unit every single month. And I think that is what I wanted to stress today, is that it starts by backing up and saying, all right, who am I competing against that's taking these deals from me? Because I want to be very honest, guys. Somebody told me something once in real estate brokerage marketing, and they said, if you want to be a top producer, you just need to steal 1 deal from every single agent that's doing deals right now this month. And I was like, what are you talking about? 1 deal from a guy who does 18, another deal from somebody that does 36 deals a year, another deal from 24 deals a year. And you start taking 1 away from every single person in your market, and they start becoming your deals. And before long, you're going to start taking 2 deals from people. And I read this in a book. This is no joke. That's how this guy named Jimmy Rex in Utah literally became the #1 agent in Utah. Because he started with 0, and he said, if I can just steal a deal from every single person, I'm not saying steal clients, but when you go to a listing appointment, stealing a deal. Better advertising, the buyer that would have probably clicked on somebody else's ad went to his funnel and signed up for property alerts. And next thing you know, he was stealing deals from all these people, to a point where the whole image of this conversation is that the person who was the top producer in his market 3 years later called him and said, you've stolen probably a good 20% of all my online advertising. And that alone had funded his marketing machine to get bigger and bigger and bigger. And why I'm saying this, guys, is that it's the same thing. He started with the competitive analysis. If I want to be a top producer, I want to be the best investor in my market, who do I need to steal deals from? Because those are the same people that are intercepting the deals before I get them. And that's the only reason why I'm not getting deals. The same person, unless it's a personal relationship, a referral, or they stumbled upon you at a bar. If they need to fix a problem, they're going to go somewhere. You need to be in that somewhere, that space, that advertising medium, that online search, that corner of the road that they're pissed off and going to the bank because they know they're about to bounce their checking and they're going to lose their house, right? You have to be in those areas, those spectrum. And if you're not, that same person is going to steal that deal. So when you look at your advertising and marketing for 2022, we're all going to be looking at each other because a lot of us advertise and market in the same market. But what I'm trying to say here is that we're not trying to build a very competitive business that everyone is just cutthroat to take out. There's enough deals to do a lot of business in every market. But like I had said at another marketing meeting, maybe sometimes that's expanding where you're marketing. Maybe that's trying stuff new in new markets. Bandit Science didn't work in Eugene, Springfield, but they worked in Cottage Grove, right? And constantly changing the open-mindedness to being able to create more action with marketing that you're actually doing. Because what I wanted to state in all of this is that I always hear this excuse. Oh, I tried that. It didn't work. Oh, you used to do Bandit Signs? Yeah, I'm gonna throw Ed underneath the bus. My own business partner. Oh yeah, I just don't do Bandit Signs anymore. I just wasted a bunch of money, or they always got stolen. And I'm like, dude, just put them on different streets, right? Let's take them to a different town. But don't say they don't work. Saying they don't work, you means you just completely shut off that marketing channel, and then they don't work because you're not doing it, right? And so whether it's a website, Google PPC, marketing online, newspaper, building relationships with people, I wish there was some magic button or some magic company that you could just call and everything worked and you just make $1 million. But unfortunately, there's not. Most of these people that are super successful, that are buying 3, 4, 5 properties at a time, or several flip projects at a time in our own market, there's a common denominator. 1 is they spend money on marketing always. 2, they track it. 3, they have liquid capital to purchase properties and take down deals when they have the opportunity. 4 is that they're always trying something new, testing. A, B. B is what I'm always doing. A is what I'm going to try this year or this quarter. But I can guarantee you, if they're doing Google PPC, or they're throwing out Bandit Signs, or they're doing any type of marketing, they're looking at what other people are doing as well. And so that is the pillar to what I wanted to communicate today, is do the research now, look at it from a good, clean perspective. And then the last part of this whole conversation is being innovative, right? You can read books, you can take advice from mentors, you can take courses, you can be coached by people who will tell you what has worked for them in their market. They're not sitting right next to you in your market. So what is successful in Sweet Home or Florida, right, or Springfield, may be completely not working in whatever market they're in. And that's really what I always say when I meet a really successful wholesaler, who, I'm not saying like flipper or wholesaler, when I meet a very successful flipper or wholesaler or both, I always ask, oh, what market are you in? And they're like, oh, I live in Vegas, or I live in Phoenix, or I live in St. Louis, or I live in Charlotte, North Carolina. And I say, oh, so the variable of there's tons of poor people who have houses that need to be gentrified and redone. You have tons of suburban sprawl. You have tons of people spending money, and you have tons of people relocating there. It's a perfect storm for flipping properties and wholesaling deals all day long. I live in Eugene. And then they're like, oh, is there a lot of wholesale deals there? I don't know. The most successful wholesalers that I know maybe send 4 a month at most ever. And so what I'm trying to say is that you can't compare what other people are doing and tell them exactly what they're going to do in their market. You have to be innovative to be saying like, hey, what they're doing doesn't work in my market. Where am I going to find these deals? How am I going to find these deals? A lot of it's networking, a lot of it's relationship building, and a lot of it is smart advertising. Because I had a lady like on 54th or 55th, just kind of like literally like 2 minutes, 3 minutes down the road. She's like, you sent me a few letters, like not interested in selling. I get postcards all the time because my house looks like shit. Pardon my French. And she's like, but I saved your letter. And I was like, why? And she's like, your letter was like written like it was an actual person who cared that would help me solve my problem if I did want to move. And everybody else is sending me a postcard that said they give me cash for my house, 15-day close, no headaches, no repairs, no realtor fees. And there was no hand signature. I signed it with blue ink. And she goes, I saved your letter. And when I do sell, it's sitting on my refrigerator. That letter was a bird letter that essentially I had like edited a million times to make it more personable. And the same people in my market have been dropping. What was happening is that they were deal machining. I know this for a fact because she showed me one of the postcards. They were deal machining, taking a picture of this house every time they drove for dollars. She would get dropped the deal machine postcard. And she has like a stack from like 5 or 6 different companies. And 2 or 3 of these people we know. And so it was just that extra innovation of like, hey, I'm going to take all my direct mail. I'm going to personally write all these. And Ed just sent me another one this morning. He goes, hey, can you edit my direct mail? I want to go after this specific target market in this city. About 20 minutes of work, sent it back to him. I was like, what do you think? He's like, holy smokes. I would sell it to you if you sent me this letter. And so that's what I mean by innovation. It's you can take what other people are doing in your market, but do it better. Research it. Spend the time to perfect it. When you got no response, change it. Put a QR code to a video, right? Make an instant home valuation or tell them what their house is worth. Send a fake paper check. I don't care what it is, but do stuff that innovates to create that call to action in your market, because it's not like Wonder Bread. You're not living in Austin, Texas 3 years ago, just sitting there wholesaling deals, making millions of dollars like some people I know, because you don't have that velocity in the market. You don't have that perfect storm to support you. And I always ask, there was somebody in Vegas, and I hate to storytell here, but I got on a call with this gentleman. He flips a lot of houses in Vegas. I asked him a few questions. He had like the biggest ego in the world. And I said, just pause right here. I said, what would you do differently in my market? And he said the exact same things that he was doing in Vegas. And I said, I guarantee you, if you pushed rewind and I took you from Vegas to my market, you would not be a millionaire. And he was like, oh, no, I definitely would. Nothing would change. And I said, no, it definitely would change, because every place is different. There's nothing uniform about it. So your marketing has to be different. Your creativity has to be different. You need to know your market. You need to know who your competition is so that you can pivot, position, and perfect your performance. And I think that's really what most people need to do in this market. Yes, Grace, let's plan to pause for questions. Yes, Mike.
You said be innovative. I just had a brainstorm and I'll share it. You guys can steal it with the Bandit signs. I'm thinking if I ever use a Bandit sign, I'm going to have big headline, free beer when I sell your house.
He'll be there.
It will get attention. People, free beer catches even a corner of your eye, and then they read the sign.
That's
So who is your target market there, Mike, on that? Because you're not a realtor.
Anybody that has a house and they want to sell, I'll buy it, more or less.
free
Okay.
beer when I buy your house.
Yeah. Free
That's
beer when
a
I.
good-
Oh, yeah, I'm sorry. Free beer when I buy your house, not sell your house. I'm sorry.
Yeah, I like that. I'm gonna steal it. Sorry. Mine will say free tequila.
Or
like-
if you want to get one step beyond all the other Bandit signs, you just get a pole dancer on the corner with a sign above.
I don't have enough money.
Yeah. This,
No.
this
I
is,
actually saw when they were people were doing garage sales. There was a big garage sale sign. It was kind of out of town a little ways, so maybe they didn't get a lot of traffic, but it literally said free beer. Come to my garage sale. And it like perked me up, and I thought I need to go. Yeah, it might work.
No,
it's a great idea.
I had there was a real estate agent back in where was it, Palo Alto or Sunnyvale, I forget where it was, and he got in trouble for this because his insurance company finally cracked down on him. But he had this huge ass sign that says it was him in a U-Haul, like his face like in the driver's seat, like smiling, and he said it said like, let me sell your house and I'll literally move all your shit. And he had a truck, and this is huge across the country. Everyone, he bought a moving truck, and it was like the ad was him on the side of the truck, like, let me sell your house and I'll move your shit. And like shit was like a money sign, an H, an exclamation point, and like it didn't spell it out, but it was really funny. And then like 2 years later, I drove by his office and the truck was gone. And I finally asked him, I was like, what happened? He's like, my insurance company said I couldn't do it.
Oh no.
The sign or the moving?
The moving part, like his E&O insurance for the brokerage didn't want him to be connected to like moving people's furniture, like breaking their TV and all that type of stuff. But super innovative. He got tons of listings from it. Tons of listings.
Hey, Dan, on these different advertising deals, are people doing KPIs to see how well they're doing with each campaign, or?
Yes. So the best way to track, like if we're talking direct mail, I can't see it because I have this background check. I have this.
Can you tell us what KPIs are?
Key performance indicators.
Yeah, let me shut off my background for a second. Sorry, everybody. We're going to go from Eugene, Oregon to Dan's office. None. There we go. You can see my gun safe.
It's real.
Just filled with direct mail. I still got to go through it. I do that once a year. So every flight goes into our direct mail master tracker, DMMS. We write how many people was it sent? Was it a postcard or a letter? We kind of have like, I know how much. I have an HP printer on monthly ink subscription that gives you your price per page. So I know exactly how much it costs to run 5 or 100 sheets or 500 sheets through this printer. Postage. So it's like printing, which is paper and ink, postage, and then did we get any leads from it? Or it's actually appointments met, deals closed, and then return on investment. Guys, I can be very honest, thousands of dollars, thousands, didn't return anything. So it's the long game approach, right? Depending on two different things, the investment direct mail and the key performance indicators there's a way bigger of a loss on the investment side because it's not a branding play. It's not a farm generator or a touch point frequency of top of mind awareness, reach and frequency, keeping on them. They see your logo, they see your name. Now they want to list, you get a commission on it, right? You do 2 or 3 of those deals. You spent $4,000 in direct mail. You made $12,000, $15,000 in commissions. Now you're at like a 5-to-1 ROI ratio. So That's kind of how I break down direct mail. And you got to be diligent about it, because like the one that I just gave, I gave 480 sheets to Ed like yesterday. I just handed him 480. You guys just made me remember I didn't put that on the tracker yet. So you have to train yourself that every time I do this, we have somebody that does it for us now. We just we print all the paper, we put all the stamps, we put the letters in there, and we put the labels, and I put them in a tote, and I hand them to a kid. And every single time he does it, he sends an email, all done, out. And as soon as he says all done, out, there's another 500 to 1,000 going out. It just never stops. Like Ed just said yesterday, he's like, it's like a machine. Do you have another? He's done. Wave. And I got 3 listings from it this year. The most recent one, I double-ended the deal. So I represent the buyer and the seller. And the seller told me, I was like, how did you hear me? He's like, oh, I saved your letter. Your letter was great. And so I kind of looked at it this year. I said, how much money did I make off that deal? And I said, I will spend all of that entire commission. This is how aggressive you guys need to be. I will spend that entire commission, gross commission, not even like after taxes, the entire commission on direct mail next year. Do it again. Recycle that money right back to the freaking casino table. Go buy more chips. And that's that personality trait. And I'll answer any questions more to finish this off, but that personality trait, a lot of people don't have. They're super conservative with their cash. They want to track everything. It's like really hard for them to think about that. I'm like, oh, 7,000 cash, go buy 500, go five reams of paper, go get me 2,000 stamps. I want you to spend all of it and start sending it. Just keep sending it. Barrage. That's how I was taught, is that advertising and marketing is going to the casino, but knowing what cards to play and what deals and hands to consistently double down on. So there's return on investment there. But I would say that in this box, there's about $1,000 sitting here. Easily.
So don't you have to get in front of people at least 5 to 7 times before they really look at what you're sending them?
With real estate related farm generation, unless it's a very specific list, like pre-foreclosures, like the instantaneous, I need help, right?
Right.
What I call short-term, not long-term play. Yeah, like my farm, I'm behind. I usually do my neighborhood every quarter, but I got really busy and I just was like, you know what? Like I sent out a football schedule for the entire Pac-10 with Oregon, the Beavers, the Ducks, and then like my name and whole valuation on it. I got no calls from it. And what was I going to say?
You won't get calls from that kind of thing. That's a reminder ad.
Yep.
Mhm.
So I'll probably send out a full letter for the spring and kind of talk about the market and do those types of things. But yeah, you're right, Marty.
How about branding?
For investments,
Yeah.
I mean, look at Property Max.
Yeah. I mean, they're out there all the time, but at the same time, their brand is becoming known just because it's out there all the time.
Correct.
What's your brand, Marty?
Well, I have a few, but RS Home Buyers is my website.
Mm-hmm.
Full spectrum.
What's RS stand for?
Real Spectrum.
Real spectrum. Sorry.
It's not Real Sharks.
Reality show.
Yeah. I think, no, I personally,
Somebody.
I think branding is important, more on the real estate agent side or brokerage side. But I think if you're an investor, the best branding play is YouTube, is Instagram. Grow a very big subscriber base, audience following, get people who want to invest with you you'll start to get phone calls from people who want to network. You start to get people who want to syndicate and JV on deals. And then as you start to grow authority and build this, I had this young couple, and I say young, they're not really young, but younger couple on my podcast this week. They were both engineer in the Air Force and a engineer at a tech company. And he's in the Air Force and she quit her job full time. They've syndicated 6, and I will have this podcast. It's not out yet. They've syndicated 6 deals this year. They went from 0 to 380 units just this year.
Dang.
A remarkable story. And I asked them, what was your key to success? And they said, networking, getting on as many podcasts, shooting as much YouTube video content, and building relationships with people that we knew had money. And then as soon as we got a deal, I emailed, marketed it to everybody and was like, hey, if you're an accredited investor, you can participate in this. But they had already built so many good relationships with people. They already had a previous relationship. So with syndication, if you've had a previous relationship with them or their friends or family, and they already know you do this, then you're not soliciting them for investments. So their first like deal or two was like, it was like 15 or 20 people that already knew them that put in $50,000 or $100,000, and boom, $2 million, I think $2 million complex in Oklahoma, like 57 units. So that branding play, right? They're the adventurous real estate investors. That's what their name is. And they have this kind of like mountain play. But if they were sending out direct mail or doing marketing to direct mom and pop sellers, like that branding play would just be a waste of money in the bucket. Their branding play is credibility, authority, their story, and their mission, right? They always want to give back, add value to the properties, not just from value add and remodeling, but helping tenants, bettering the communities, creating more affordable housing. Like they literally believe that, and it emulates through their branding. So then people who want to invest in them, their play is raise capital through their branding play versus branding to attract the deal to them. They buy a MLS or commercial multifamily deals. None of it is for lead generation to find more inventory. So it's very smart. It's probably the smartest couple I've ever met in my entire life. They're just very, very strategic and on it. And I think they'll own 1,000 to 2,000 units in the next couple of years. So, any other questions? I know we're.
So Gail,
Right.
how's your deal going? The thing you posted on our website?
Oh yeah, that single wide. You know what? It's the least. So this is a probate listing. So so I'm dealing with a lawyer in like Portland or something, but it's the least expensive property in all of Central Oregon. So I thought I would be getting more calls. I mean, I was expecting, but it's it's a unique property because it's older, 64, you can't get a loan on it. And it's on a septic because Terrebonne doesn't have a sewer system. So, and I just found out that a septic when the home was put in 64, they didn't require any kind of permitting until like 74. So there's no permits so people don't know what to expect with the septic. So that's a little bit, even though it's fine, you can live there and have a septic, as long as the septic is working, you're fine. And the septic does work now, but at some point, there's going to be an issue. But yeah, the least expensive property, if you're interested.
How much do they want for it?
So it's on a lot in
So it's
town.
real property.
Yes.
Okay.
And in 64, when they put the single wide on, they instantly added on. So it looks like when they put it on, so it looks like a double wide. It doesn't look like a single wide. but regardless, it's labeled as a single wide, but we put it at 149. It's
Okay.
city water. There is a septic. There's a little storage shed in the back. But the lot is only like a 5,000 square foot lot. So it's not a huge city lot. But it's in town. And the neighborhood is starting, it's been for a while now, but it's picking up. Like there's a house across the street for sale for like 325 or something. So anyway,
So 150
yeah. Mm-hmm.
in Terrebonne. Okay.
Yeah. And
Is Terrebonne near La Pine or what?
oh no, Terrebonne is north of Redmond, it's 3
Oh.
miles from Redmond. It's 3
Oh,
miles
that's
from
good.
Redmond. Yeah. And Terrebonne's really growing. Terrebonne has Crooked River Ranch, which
Oh yeah. I'm familiar.
Yeah.
Well, if you guys want to learn about manufactured homes, you can watch my newest YouTube video.
Where's the link? Oh, there it is.
I put it in the chat.
Ew.
It's like a 25-minute download on everything you need to know about manufactured homes and parks.
Fast talk, I'm sure.
Oh, it is. It is just content rich.
I pulled it up, yeah. You know, I flip a lot of manufactured homes, and I have one that I'm going to sell real soon. And maybe to Saffron's lead, who they just bought Opal's house. Opal thought she was going to move into her, I don't know, fifth wheel or what, or something. And Opal was a little ditzy and figured out she couldn't do that. And now she's looking for a place to live while she's living in hotels.
That could get expensive.
Yeah,
could
the
get-
hotels can get expensive. Yeah. So it looks like we. What?
Kevin's hilarious.
Yeah. Opal saw the house today.
He's out there.
I just closed on a manufactured home, not for myself, but in our park, that the seller had just crazy unrealistic price. Like she originally sold somebody like 80 grand and chased away a seller. And then I listed it at 67 and I told her she was crazy. I was like, if you weren't in my own park that I own, I would not take this listing, but I will prove to you, seller, that you will not sell anywhere close to this, guaranteed. We went from 67 to 63 to 55.
And
we
what's the
finally-
park rent?
650.
650. Where's this at?
Walterville.
Okay. Yeah. So interesting enough, because you all know Tom Willie. Tom Willie's my partner. He's doing all the work out there, and on my place on Coburg Road, just south of Armitage Park, and there was a listing went up last week for a single wide and wasn't fixed up or anything, and it was listed at 30,000. Sold. First person said, "I don't want to see it, just get me it," kind of thing. 30,000. Now, this is not my experience a year ago when I tried to sell the same thing in another park for 25,000. I ended up selling it for 20. But so we figured we could sell it. That one went for 30. Opal, Saffron's friend. So I told her that we want 40,000 for it. And so she thought that sounded like a good deal because it's fixed up, but it's not done yet. But anyways, well, we found out from the seller, Tom found out from the seller of the single wide, and the park rent is $600 a month, mind you, that the real estate agent wanted to list that 30,000 listing at 60,000
Oh my
for
word.
a 1960 something single wide.
Single-
Oh my word.
Yeah, and these are all 1960 something single wides in that park, pretty much. So, and so now I'm thinking, if Opal doesn't buy it, then I'm going to list it for 50.
I hold the record for in 2 parks for the highest price per square foot this year.
Yeah.
And I'm not bragging about it. It's not
Oh,
funny.
go ahead, Bragg.
No, it's not. People just come in and it's like a feeding frenzy. The first day I
Yeah.
listed it, they're like, I'll pay you 5,000 over asking, all cash, close, like sign it, call your seller right now. I'm like, okay. I literally walked out the front door and I said, somebody will give you 5,000 over, all cash. They have proof of funds. They want me to double end this right now. Cool. Send the offer. We're done.
Yeah.
Drove over and it's pending. So I think it's just, there's no affordable,
That's
guys,
the problem. That
there's
is
no
the
affordable
problem.
housing.
Yeah, that's the reality, and that's good for us that are doing these low end homes. Gail, did you put yours on the MLS, right?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Well, so it's true that think about, okay, so the problem is, I mean, obviously it's cash only, right? A single wide 64, it's cash
Yeah,
only.
it's before 79.
So, yeah, exactly. And so, but think about it, you can't, and there's no park rent on it. The home does need some work, but it's totally livable. 1,000 square feet, so think about that, how much, but 100, I know that if we don't get an offer in the next week or so, well, we did get an offer. But if something doesn't happen, we'll be dropping the price. But I mean, we're not going to cut it in half or, the price in half or anything, because I know it's worth it. You own the lot,
Yeah.
so, so to me, it's shocking that I'm not getting, more interest.
So the company that I just put in the link, and Marty knows about this company. Me and Marty were probably some of the few people. 21st Mortgage Corporation will finance pre-78 manufactured homes.
Primarily in parks.
So I've been, for these more difficult manufactured home sales where they're older or
Oh, Gail's isn't, no.
Will you put that in the chat, Dan or
I did.
Marty? Oh, you
Yeah.
did? Okay.
Yep. Just Google them.
Okay, thanks.
And they're like 7.5 or 8.5% interest, but they're the only company. There's another company in California that only does them in California. That's it. That company is kind of like a hard money lender. They'll do it anywhere except like the 3 states where it's illegal to.
Yeah.
I had a question for Gail.
Go ahead, Marty.
Gail, did you guys purchase it, or
I'm sorry, what was that?
this property that you're trying to sell? Did you purchase it?
No, I'm the real estate agent.
Okay.
Well, she just left. Whoops.
She's like, I'm the real estate agent, but I got a call. See you later.
Money's on the line. Yeah. Yeah. So her listings on the Rio website, I posted it up there to when I shared the screen so you could see it.
Right.
Yeah.
If you guys ever get a manufactured home that you're holding as an investment and you want to sell it, call me before you put it on the market. I have like 70 buyers. I got so many leads of people who like were looking between 20 and 30, but they didn't have more than 30,000 cash. So I just have them like all tagged as mobile home.
In park. That would be in parks then. Yeah.
Yeah. Mobile
Oh
home.
my gosh. That's a gem. Thank you.
Yeah.
That's the most affordable housing.
I just sold one for 13 grand in Thurston Oaks. That was a complete shithole. And I literally represented the buyer and the seller, and the buyer is an investor who's going to flip it. And she was like, I don't know who's going to buy it. I'm going to buy it. I'm going to flip it. And she's like, I don't know who's going to buy it. I'm like, hold on 1 second. And I sent an email out to this list. And I was like, I have a property that's 28,000 cash. She just put a new roof on it. It needs tons of work. Who's interested? Like, it was like 30 minutes later, somebody calls me. They're like, I'm interested. And I was like, call this lady. I don't even want the commission. I don't even want to deal with this. It's not worth my time. And she has the buyer already. So under 30,000, they're everywhere. It's like a feeding frenzy.
I don't know what happened. I'm sorry.
You're good.
I was like disappeared.
You saw that.
I know. I think I'm on this really old computer that like you can't like move or it. Anyway, I didn't purchase the property. I'm the listing agent for the property. So
Okay.
I'm listing it for the lawyers. It's it's a probate listing,
Oh.
basically.
Yeah.
Um,
So since this is a marketing call.
what I was going to suggest,
Yes.
if the people with the probate would be willing to carry, you could offer seller financing and probably sell that thing a lot faster.
Typically
Yeah.
they won't.
Yeah.
allow it.
They don't, not only
Probate.
that, they won't even turn the utilities on for me to make sure everything. So the person that passed away about a month ago. So that person lived in there and had in-home care. So lived in the home. But a month ago, they turned off all the utilities, when the person passed away. And so we can't even check, I can't even, if someone buys it, it's as is. They don't want to turn the power on. They're not going to check anything. So it's as is. And they want it gone, cash only. They want to sell. So
Did they at least take the person out of there?
That was the best.
Nah,
thing
we're
I've
not,
heard.
just as is, that's it.
As is, yeah.
Take the dead body, the coroner will come and
Well,
get it.
I was, frankly, that since there's no power, and I went over there to get the locks changed at I don't know, 8 o'clock in the morning. It was a dark day, it was kind of a little bit rainy, and I was scared to go in the house because you think there could.
They have a certain smell too. I don't know what it is with manufactured homes, but every time I walk into them, I'm like, what is the smell going to be?
Yeah.
Is it cedar or mothballs, or is it like wet
Some
carpet?
kind of gunga growing in it.
Yeah. I mean,
Yeah.
Looked at
Marty,
one Saturday, didn't we?
yeah, me and Marty went and looked at one on Saturday. I walked in, there's a bug. I just need to tell you this. If you're ever going to sell a property, don't let off a bug bomb and then not remove it.
For them.
There was 2 of them.
there was 2 bug bombs. All of the floors were cupped up. There's leaks everywhere. And the lady that has it listed, I would never in a million years imagine this lady would have allowed that. She must have never gone there, Marty, ever.
I don't think so.
Because that agent is very well known. So I text her back. I don't know, Marty, if you even knew this. I sent her an email back. I was like, well, our offer was contingent upon the walkthrough, and there was a bug bomb in there. And she went back and she was like, OMG, let me reach out to seller.
Kind of late now.
Yeah.
So with this house, the neighbors called because they knew everything about the house. So they filled me in on everything that I don't necessarily need to know about the house at all. But they were telling me, oh, all those cats, do they still live under the house? And I was like, and I said, well, he goes, because I still go over there and feed them. And I said, great, and so sure enough, on the back side of the house, there's a real big opening where every animal probably lives under there, but I'm not going to close it up. I'm just going to leave it as is, have the cats and everything. But
you didn't happen to casually mention to please quit feeding the cats.
well, he also mows the lawn if it gets too long. So however, we don't need that now, but that guy knew everything about that house and he would have bought it. He wants to buy it, but he doesn't have anywhere near the cash,